Hey, Mike.
Hey Heather, how are
How
you?
Good. How are you?
Good, the same.
Cool. So, what's new with you? Have you climbed any mountains? Gone down the rapid rivers of Colorado? Are you going to go traveling anytime soon?
Well,
How
let's
you?
see. Since the last live stream, um, I've climbed some local mountains. I led a rappelling
Nice.
lesson yesterday,
Cool.
um, and don't. I'm going to do stuff for the near future. On the 23rd, I'm going to be rappelling into the subway in Zion National Park, which
Oh
is
my
one
gosh.
of the best, you know, I don't know, things to do in the Southwest. And it's very difficult to get permits, but I won them in the lottery.
Oh, nice.
And
Congrats.
and we've got the Global Game Protection Conference coming up at
Oh,
the end of April that I always go to.
oh, that's exciting.
Yup. And I also, speaking of permits, I also won permits to do a 5 day backpacking trip in the Grand Canyon in August. And yeah, and okay, here's a little off topic, but here's a reminder about for anyone who's interested in Burning Man. Is it too late? No, it's not too late. So to get tickets in the main sale, there's three hoops you have to jump through. Number one, you have to create a burner profile. This is a once in a lifetime thing. Once you've done it, you don't need to do it again. Then you have to register for the sale. Right now, we're in the 2 day, 48-hour period where you can register. This ends at noon Pacific time tomorrow. So, and in my newsletter today, I give the links and explain this all in more detail, what you need to do. Then the main sale itself is on Wednesday, April 12th at noon sharp Pacific time. And you have to be at your computer and right at noon, you need to click the button. And there's only about a 2% chance that you're going to get through because I bet like 500,000 people will be trying to get like 10,000 tickets. But you can't get any this way if you don't try at all. And
Wow. I'm
so there's
surprised so
a
many
reminder
people
for you,
go.
for you anyone out there who's interested in Burning Man. And if you're not interested, but you know anyone who is, like me, for example, this would be a great way to earn a lot of friendship points if you procured a couple of tickets. You can only buy two plus a vehicle pass. Um, so yeah, and please don't buy them with thinking that you're going to sell them at a profit. That's very against Burning Man ethics. So there you go, a reminder for all you burners out there.
Fantastic. Now, I'm surprised it's in the middle of the desert. I'm really surprised that they just don't have more room. I mean, you could just, it's the middle of the desert. There's so much room there.
The Bureau of Land Management only allows, I think, 80,000 people. That's
Okay.
all they, I mean, that's already a lot of people to handle and a lot of traffic. And, everyone complains that it's already too big. So I would be against making it any bigger and probably would be in favor of actually making it smaller.
Okay. So, as we get into this, if you guys have any questions for Mike the Wizard, go ahead and put it in the comments and we will get to it in the order that it is received. I'm going to start off by asking a repelling question. Do you ever just run off the cliff when you're repelling and just jump off the cliff and dive over? Like Geronimo, go down and then you repel.
No, because I would smash against the cliff. I mean, the rope would prevent me from falling too far. But like I said, I would probably run and then the rope would swing me back and I would crash into the wall and it would hurt.
Okay, so I shouldn't do that if I ever repel.
Nope. Now, maybe if
Okay.
you're bungee jumping, but that's
Have
a
you ever
different
done
story.
that?
I have not.
Oh, is that
No, I
something you
kind
want
of
to
like
do?
to, but no, I have
Yeah.
not had the opportunity yet. I've
Oh,
gone
cool.
skydiving.
Oh, okay. There you go. That's definitely better than bungee jumping.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Um,
Do we have trivia
we
today?
do. We have trivia on the topic of peanuts, and I mean the cartoon, not the things you eat. And if you read my newsletter last week, I'm going to ask you to recuse yourself.
Hmm. So, what is our first trivia question?
The first question is true or false? Charlie Brown is bald.
Okay, so if you guys know the answer to that, put that in the chat. And we will start off with our first gambling question of the evening, which is from Northern Jim, who asks, when I play blackjack, I use the ace 5 count. If the count is positive, standing on 16 against the 10 seems to work better. Maybe it's because so many fives have already been out. Is this a good idea?
You're absolutely right. You should stand 16 against the 10 is a very borderline play. And so with any counting system, if the count is positive, you should stand on 16 against 10. But it's especially true with the ace 5 because a positive count there indicates there's a lot of fives out of the deck already, meaning it's going to be hard to improve that 16 to a 21. So you're absolutely right, and for the reason you stated.
Okay, cool. And since that one was so quick, we'll do one more. This is from question for both of you. When you are in the mood to gamble, what is your most frequent game of choice?
Okay, well, I'll go first. I've been asked this before, but I like Pai Gow Tiles, and it's because it's a very mathematically complicated game, and it's a good challenge. And you tend to meet smart people at the table. Not to say I'm smart, but I enjoy this company of smart people. And yeah, and if that's not available, which it's usually not, I like Ultimate Texas Hold'em.
Aren't you in Mensa?
I am.
Doesn't that technically make you like a smart person?
Well, maybe I just got lucky with the test, and I do like tests. And the test for Mensa did kind of hit me pretty well. Like, arrange these pieces to make this shape. I'm good at stuff like that, and I like it.
Awesome. I love Pai Gow Poker just because there's a lot of pushes, so that way I don't have to worry about losing so much money, and I could play for a long time. Thank you, Mike, for teaching me tiles, by the way.
Oh, you're welcome.
We
I
do
forgot that I
appreciate
did.
that.
No, I think I did way on one of your broadcasts a long time ago.
Yeah, we even recorded it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the answer to the trivia question, is it false?
Yes, it is false.
Hmm.
Charlie Brown has just very light blonde hair.
Okay.
Yep. And okay, next question. What is the last name of Linus and Lucy?
Okay, so if you guys know the answer to that, put it in the chat. And our next question comes from Mark Smith, who says, in the Lighting Link game, does the wager amount affect the amount of coins you get in the bonus game?
The short answer is I don't know. I do know that the jackpots, or at least I think I know that the jackpots stay the same. So it would be only fair for there to be more coins if the player bets more to give him a better chance of hitting those progressives. So I tend to think that the answer is yes, but I'm not sure.
Okay. And we'll do another question from Mark then. I have a old New Jersey lottery ticket from the 1990s. The company was G-Tech that made terminals, and the serial number was 17 digits, but the barcode used a 48 character of blocks. Any idea how this was coded?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
There happens to be a thread on my website right now about decoding lottery ticket barcodes, but I haven't paid much attention to it. Maybe you're the one who started that thread. I don't know.
Our next question comes from Technics. Will the Wizard of Oz website retire when you retire?
I'm sure it will not. I'm sure that the owner will keep it going, and I haven't discussed with him about if there's going to be like a particular person who takes who fills in my shoes, or if it's just a, just a crew of different people, I'm not sure. And even when I retire, I think I'm still going to participate with my website just for fun. I may step down from being a moderator. I'm not sure, but I don't think that it's going to be like a hard and fast day that suddenly I fall off the face of the earth. But I'm just, I'm still going to be interested in gambling and like talking about it. So I think that for my public, it's not going to be that big of a change. It's going to be more of a change for me.
Okay. So let's see how people did on your trivia question. Was it Swartz?
Nope.
Okay. And that looks like that's all of the guesses that we have. Yep. So what was their last name?
Their last name was Van Pelt.
Oh, okay.
There you
Good
go.
to know.
Okay. Next question. What was Linus's teacher's name?
Okay, so put that in the chat. And our next question also comes from Mark Smith, who says, "Can I send you this ticket for your analysis?"
Please don't. I'm running pretty busy right now and really don't need another thing on my plate.
Can't they go to
Especially if you're
your
not going to pay me.
Can't they go to your forum and put their question and the ticket up on the forum for people to look
absolutely. Why don't you take a picture or scan your ticket and make a thread about it on my forum? Because there's a lot of people that would probably find this topic interesting, and I might chime in myself, but like I said, I'm running really busy right now and don't want to put another thing on my plate.
And how do people get to your forum?
wizardofvegas.com.
Beautiful. Okay, so our next question comes from Source Keen. On slot machine bonus games where you pick cards or something similar until you get 3 of the same, is the outcome always determined before you even start picking?
Sometimes it is and sometimes it's not. And a good way to tell is that if they show you what was behind the cards that you didn't pick, then it probably was fair and you did have free will. But if they don't, then you probably didn't, and your prize was predestined. And I tend to think that most of the time with bonuses like that, it is predestined.
So one more question. How much worse, and this is from Paul Andrews, how much worse is 6-5 blackjack?
Off the top of my head, I think it's 1.4%, but let's work that out. So I know the probability of a blackjack is it's about 1 in 21 conveniently. So the probability of a winning blackjack is, whoops, I made a mistake somewhere. So the probability of a winning blackjack is about 1 in 22. So if once every 22 hands you're losing 0.3 units, then that costs you about 1.36%. So there you go.
Okay.
So huge increase in the house advantage if blackjack only pays 6-5.
Got it. And nobody has answered the trivia question, so we are going to do one more question to give you guys a little more time, and then we'll see what you guys say. Northern Jim says, isn't Pai Gow Tiles a pure game of chance with no opportunity to add money when the state is good?
Well, Pai Gow Tiles is absolutely requires skill as well. Any casino game involves some chance. And with no opportunity to add money when the state is good, the state is always the same. The tiles get shuffled after every hand. So it's not like blackjack where you can count tiles. And as you know, I would say that there's no such thing as luck. It's not like the table runs good hot or cold. The math is the same every single hand. And much like Pai Gow Poker, though, it's a good time-killing low variance game. It's slow, a lot of pushes, and so if you're looking for a game where there's a good chance for a good run and winning a lot of money, Pai Gow Poker or Pai Gow Tiles would not be a good choice. These are more low volatility games for dinkers that just want to play and not lose a lot of money.
Okay, good to know. And then we'll do the trivia question. Can you please remind people what the trivia question was?
So the question was, what was the name of Linus's teacher? And you may remember that she spoke like this. And her name was Ms. Othmar. But I think I'm going to have to look for some really easy questions for you guys.
Was her first name Claudia, perchance?
They never said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those were the easy questions. Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess we're just not going to do trivia today if none of you guys know Peanuts very well.
I have an Easter trivia if you want to do that.
We did that. We did spring trivia last time, but give me an Easter question.
Okay. So our first Easter question is, in the 13th century, the church prohibited eating what during the Holy Week?
I'll give you my answer in the private chat.
Okay, let's see. Drum roll, please. No, that is not the answer.
Okay.
Okay, so if you guys know, put it in the chat. And our next gambling question comes from Randy, who says, would you ever consider taking over with Gambling with an Edge or start a gambling-related podcast?
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Bob Dancer and Richard Munchkin announced on their last podcast that they are going to end Gambling with an Edge in a few months. They didn't give an exact date, and I'm looking forward to being on the show one last time. Date hasn't been scheduled yet. And this has come up on the Wizard of Vegas forum if I would consider taking it over, and I'm not interested. I used to co-host it, and it was a lot of work for very little money, and it was a big headache. I mean, I enjoyed doing the show itself, but finding guests and writing questions, and it was tedious. So there was a little bit of chat behind the scenes about maybe if the owner of my website might buy the rights to the show and keep it going, but I don't think he's very interested. So I will be sorry to see that show go. And that's all I can think to say about it.
That is really sad. Okay, so let's see if you guys have any answers to the trivia question. And Dalbraxon got it. They are prohibited from eating eggs.
That's kind of ironic considering the Easter egg.
Exactly. Okay, so our next question trivia question is, the world record for the largest chocolate Easter egg was made in what country? We'll do country. That'll be a lot easier for you guys.
Okay.
So if you know, put it in the chat. And Mike, you are incorrect. But that was a good guess.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I thought it was,
okay.
Yeah, it was just an educated guess.
It was a good guess.
I guessed a country that is famous for good chocolate.
While we were waiting for you guys to put the answer to the trivia in the comments, our next gambling question comes from Vidiot, who says, have you visited Ojos Locos Casino in Las Vegas? If so, any kudos for either gambling or food drink? And I probably butchered that name.
That's Ojos Locos, which means crazy eyes in Spanish. And I have not. If I'm correct, they took over the old Speedway Casino. And I know it had a different name in between the two. But no, I live way far away from there. So I'm afraid I have not, but it's kind of low on my list of things to do.
Our next gambling question is from Paul, who says, in the design of slots and more complicated table games, is the house edge determined by computer simulations or with math?
That's a good question. I could talk about this one for a long time. Usually with table games, it's determined by pure math. And usually with slot machines, it's either a simulation or some combinations. The math of slot machines is getting really quite complicated, and it's really just practical when there's all kinds of different rules, affecting the game, and especially when there's no skill involved, that a simulation is more appropriate. So, and again, I could talk about this for a long time, but that's my short answer.
Okay. And we'll do one more question while we're waiting for people. This is from Northern Jim. At Ultimate Texas Hold'em, would playing two hands help lower the odds of the dealer getting a flush?
Nope, wouldn't affect them at all.
That's so, I love easy answers. It's just quick and done. And Paul asked, what casino game could a player with a photographic memory excel at?
I would say the two best would be Blackjack, because you could remember the cards that have already been played. And I think poker would be a good one, especially if you tended to see the same faces over and over, because you could remember how those players tended to play in all kinds of different situations.
That's a good point. Okay, let's see if anybody has an answer to the trivia question. Jimmy said Switzerland, which, again, a very good guess. Del Braxton said Belgium, and Jason said Hungary. And unfortunately, those are not the correct answers. So the correct answer to that question was Italy. Italy was the first one.
I had no idea.
Okay, next is, what baked good is a Good Friday tradition in England? What baked good is a Good Friday tradition in England? So if you know, put that in the chat. And while we are waiting, our next question, oh, cool, is for me, mostly for Heather. Do most dealers like to be tipped via bets or just a handout? The casino requires the dealer to take the bet. If you ask the dealer, hey, do you want to bet this, or do you want me to just give it to you? They are required to say, I need to take it, or I want to take it. They don't want the dealers to bet. And the reason why is because if they win, they get paid double, and that's more money that the casino loses, because once the dealer's tipped, they don't get that money back, compared to a player who, if they win, there's a good chance that they're going to play that money back. So the casino sees a tip for a dealer as lost money that they're not going to get back.
That's not what I would have expected, but as a dealer, I'll take your word for it.
And by the way, your answer to the trivia question is incorrect. Sorry. Okay, so our next one. What did you think the answer was going to be?
If I ran a casino, I would want the player to bet the tip, because that house advantage is going to take a little slice out of it, and it's all the more profit for the casino.
Yeah, but if it's blackjack, isn't it like a 50-50 whether they're going to win or lose?
It's more like 50.5, 49.5.
Yeah.
But if the house is getting that, say, 1% house advantage, and it's say a $5 tip, that's like getting 5 cents. What would you rather have, 5 cents or 0 cents?
Good points. Okay, so we do have a couple answers to the trivia question. Dow Braxton is correct. It's hot cross buns. Hot cross buns. And if you don't know what that is, basically it's what every child plays on that little recorder flute that the school gives them.
Yeah.
Hot cross buns, hot cross buns.
I think that when my kids took piano lessons, they started that.
Had to do that. Oh goodness. I bet that was just stuck in your head for weeks.
Yep. Yeah, I haven't thought about it for years, and suddenly bring it back to me.
So our next question is, while the Easter Bunny brings children eggs in the U.S., what animal delivers goods in Germany?
Somewhere I think I know this, but I'm having a hard time pulling it out. Let me think.
And remember,
question while I'm thinking about it.
If you guys have a gambling question that you want to ask Mike, please put it in the chat. We go in the order that they are received, but it's always good to have questions to ask. It looks like we're running out of questions. So go ahead and get those in there. And the next gambling question is from Technics, who says, how much of a higher house edge does Freebet Blackjack have compared to standard Blackjack? And I like your trivia answer. It's not correct, but I love your trivia answer.
Oh, thank you. All right. Well, let's look at my website. So I'm going to click on games, then F, then Freebet Blackjack. I tend to think it's around 1%, but let's see. 1.04. So it's pretty close. And regular blackjack, the house edge really depends on the rules, but as long as a blackjack pays 3-2, it's probably going to be about 0.6 or 0.7. So blackjack is still a little bit better by about 0.4%.
Okay. And our next gambling question comes from Source Keen. I know you don't believe in dice control, and I agree. But theoretically, if someone had unlimited time and energy, isn't there a skill aspect that one could develop to some level of control?
Maybe, I think that if you took 1,000 people and put them in prison, and they had a craps table and dice in there, and they had nothing else to do but practice craps, that out of those 1,000 people, maybe one of them could get good enough to beat the house edge, or maybe even 0. So it's possible that some people that just have really good control with their hands, like the kind of people that maybe are really good at darts, maybe with enough time, they could master it. But as I've said many times, I've yet to see any convincing evidence that anybody on the whole planet can do it.
Also, too, the way that the craps tables are designed, they're designed in a way to make the dice roll as randomly as possible. 2 examples of this are the alligator skin or the pyramids that you see on the side of the craps table. The player must hit this. And when they hit this with the dice, it changes the direction of the dice, making it more random. Another thing that they do is they make sure that the softness on the table. Some casinos, they'll just put layers of table layouts on top of each other, and this makes the table softer, which means it's a less random roll. If they take that off and it's more hard, having a harder table makes the dice roll at a more random, in a more random way. So there are things that they do with the table to make sure that the dice roll as randomly as possible.
Well, to play the devil's advocate.
Yay, I love it when we do this.
Dice influence believers say that they know that, and what they endeavor to do is to put some backspin on the dice, and they aim right for that corner. So it barely kisses the back wall, as they like to put it. And then with the backspin, it's like they just stop dead in their tracks. Kind of like if you ever see a really good golfer, like like on a par 3 hole, when they hit the ball, they put backspin on it, and when that ball hits the green, it just stops right dead where it lands. It's really amazing because when I hit the ball, even if it's a good shot, it's going to bounce and roll all over the green. So that's what they endeavor to do to overcome the those pyramids on the table, and I think that dice influence believers like a table that is soft because the table absorbs that energy, so it doesn't bounce around as much.
So when they put the backspin on the dice, they have to kind of flick their wrist in a way that puts the backspin in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you do this a lot, or if you do this with enough force, you can actually hurt your wrist and have a cyst in your wrist that you need to have surgery for. They tell dealers about this when we're dealing the game. For example, when we spin the ball in roulette, if we don't snap it and we just use our finger, we can get a cyst in our finger. And I actually did. I got a cyst in my finger and I had to get surgery to take the cyst out. So we have to be really careful about not snapping like our wrist or our fingers in a certain way. Otherwise, it will injure it.
I did not know that. That is interesting.
Yep. That's why we snap. Okay. So let's see if you guys have an answer to the trivia question. Technic says a goose. It is not a goose, or a rooster. That is not the answer. And it looks like those were the only two that I see. Mike, you said hedgehog. I love that. I mean, that is like my favorite answer out of all of them. The answer to the question is what animal brings or delivers goods in Germany? Westphalia, Germany. I'm sure I butchered that. I apologize. It's a fox. So the answer to that is a fox.
Okay. Yeah, somewhere I think I've heard that before, but I couldn't pull it out.
Yeah. Apparently different countries have different animals, which is so fascinating. Okay. So our next question says, households will typically spend how much on average during Easter annually? So, and I'm sure inflation was not taken into account when we're asking this question. But if you know, put it in the chat. And let me see if I can find our next question. You are really close.
Ooh.
Like you are really, really close.
All right.
Okay. So our next question comes from Anne. Hi, Anne. Good to see you. Mike, I saw that you mentioned on the Las Vegas Advisor YouTube channel or show last week. Do you ever plan on making an appearance on that show? You were mentioned on it, the Las Vegas Advisors YouTube channel. Would you ever make an appearance?
To be honest, so I was mentioned. To be honest, I don't know much about it, but I'll look into that after the show.
Oh, I bet Anthony would totally have you on there.
Yeah, I would be happy to do it. To be honest, I'm a little unhappy with Huntington Press right now because I've been waiting 4 months for my book to come out now and still hasn't.
Yeah, it takes.
That's how it is with them.
Well, I heard that's how it is with any kind of press or any kind of publishing company. It just takes a long time period for everything. Okay, so our next question comes from Northern Jim. A video poker machine I played has $100,000 jackpot on a sequential royal flush. Have you ever seen a sequential royal flush yourself?
I've never actually seen one with my own eyes. I've seen pictures of them. Like I think there's a picture of one at vpfree2.com. But no, I remember when the Red Rock reopened after COVID, there was a pretty good sequential royal game that was only a nickel game, but the sequential royal jackpot was pretty high. I mean, it had a pretty good player advantage, but it wasn't worth my time, so I didn't play it. But yeah, short answer is no. I've never seen one with my own eyes.
Okay. And Anne has a follow-up. Anne says that they mentioned your book was coming out.
Good to hear.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so our next question is a fast one. What games do you prefer in the casino for entertainment?
Well, I would still say Pai Gow Tiles. I mean, I don't. If I'm playing something seriously, then I'll play anything that has an advantage, which is not very many things. So for the reason I said, the reasons that I like Pai Gow Tiles is because I find it entertaining. So same answer for me.
Okay. Again, if you guys have a gambling question, go ahead and put it in the chat. We have about 20 minutes left, so we will probably get to your question before we end it. As far as the answer to our trivia question, Mike was the closest. Jim said 500, Justin said 3,000, and Yes Note said 150. Mike, you said 125. The answer is 130.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty close.
Okay. Oh, that was really close. I was surprised you were that close.
Yeah,
Good.
I was debating between 100 and 150, so I thought I'll just go in the middle.
Smart. Our next trivia question is, in what country? So the original Easter Bunny was actually what sort of animal? The original Easter Bunny was actually what sort of animal? It wasn't a bunny. It was something else. What was that something else? So if you know, put it in the chat. And then our next gambling question is from Justin. What do you think about the online casino like Chumbo?
I'm not familiar with it, so no opinion there.
What do you think about online casinos, period?
I could talk about that all day long. I don't even know where to start with that one.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Our next gambling question comes from Vidiot, who says, what do you think is a reasonable amount for the 1,200 jackpot limit to be raised to?
That's a good question. We discussed this on an old show, Heather, where you, if I may say, incorrectly said that they raised it to 5,000. That was only a bill that is going through Congress right now.
They haven't passed the bill yet.
Right.
Okay.
So I think 5,000 is a good number. I think it would bring that 1,200, up to inflation since it was 1,200 a long time ago. Personally, I would like to see no limit at all, or even higher than 5,000, like 20,000. But, I understand that there's a divided government and sometimes you have to compromise. So I'm going to go that the 5,000 is a good number. It's a nice round number, and and it's not a dramatic change, and it'll save up a lot of casino resources. And I think it's only fair, because I think that when you win a jackpot, you're winning money that was already taxed. So I think it's not fair that it gets taxed again. And I really think the whole system is unfair, where if you take the standard deduction, you cannot offset gambling losses against gambling wins. So that's why I don't play video poker anymore, because I basically would be paying taxes on jackpots, and that takes any thin advantage right out of it.
When did you stop playing?
When they increased the standard deduction, which I think was around 2018.
Okay. I agree. I think it should be up too, because inflation makes $1,000 like nothing nowadays.
Okay. That's
Okay.
that one.
If you guys have a gambling question, please put it in the chat. And then the answer to the trivia question, and Mark got this correct, it was a hare. It wasn't a bunny, it was a hare.
I consider bunnies, rabbits, and hares kind of the same thing.
I'm glad to know what your like true feelings are on this. Okay, so our next Easter question, trivia question. What year was the first White House Easter egg roll? What year was the first White House Easter egg roll? So if you guys know, put it in the chat. Otherwise, please ask us a gambling question. Otherwise, you're just going to watch me and Mike shoot the shit for a while, which I'm good with. I always like shooting the shit with you.
Careful, let's keep it PG.
Ah, that's not PG. I thought I did good. Okay. No more. I won't do that. Okay, so our next gambling question.
Hopefully YouTube doesn't ban us now.
I don't think that's one of the words that they.
I don't know. I know Wonderhussy right now is under a 1-week YouTube ban. And
Are you serious?
Yeah, I don't know the reason why, but probably something to do with nudity. But
okay, wait a minute. Which channel is this? I want to check it out.
So I love Wonderhussy. She has a YouTube channel, and she loves she goes on all these adventures, and she especially likes hot springs and abandoned cabins and things like that. And she travels all over the Southwest, and she loves things like Burning Man, and we love all the same stuff. And I love following her channel, and she's really smart. And in fact, I mentioned earlier that I'm doing a Grand Canyon trip in August. I invited her, and I was kind of surprised to get an answer. But of course, she said no; it was too close to Burning Man. But I was honored to just get a reply from her. So if you are interested in following a channel of a really cool and smart chick who just does various adventures, and she tries to keep it educational, where she's trying to tell some story, about something. Then you might like her channel. Her videos do tend to be kind of long, but anyway, there's a big thumbs up for me for Wonderhussy's adventures over on YouTube. I
would love to see the two of you like do an adventure together and then get a video of that.
Me too. I keep inviting her to go rock climbing or rappelling here in Vegas, because she doesn't live that far away. She lives in I think near Armagosa Valley, which is like 90 minutes away. And she does have a video where she does White Pinnacle, which is a really fun climb that I happen to be leading on the 16th. I said, if you like that, I can lead you on all kinds of stuff like that. And, she always says something like, I'll keep it in mind. Thank you. But so far, nothing has come of it yet.
Something that might help is see if you could do a collaboration. YouTube people are more likely to do collaborations with other YouTubers rather than just hanging out with the people that watch their videos. So you might be more likely to do a collaboration with her. Well,
whatever she wants to do, I said, I will do anything, I'm at your service. And so anyway.
Okay. So our next gambling question is from Justin. Would you prefer a smoking or a non-smoking casino?
Oh, non-smoking all the way. I am what adjective should I use? A devout non-smoker, and I'm very much against legalized smoking in casinos. I think all casinos should be smoke-free. I think that smokers are killing non-smokers, especially the staff. And I really don't think that since these are public places, that for the same reason you can't smoke in restaurants, you shouldn't be allowed to smoke in casinos. But however, I understand that I'm not the king and maybe I can't have everything my way. I think what might be a decent compromise is if casinos had to have, separate smoking and non-smoking areas with separate, that where the smoke did not filter from the smoking to the non-smoking half. If you had a big company like, say, MGM Mirage, I would be okay with some casinos being non-smoking and some being smoking. Just please give us non-smokers something. So yeah, I absolutely will take a non-smoking casino any day. And by the way, plug for the Park MGM. They are non-smoking, at least when last I checked. And I have not heard of them going back, although I kind of heard off the record that they're thinking about it. So I encourage you to patronize the Park MGM as long as it remains a non-smoking property.
Okay. Now, I thought, and I'm probably wrong on this, I thought like a new casino just opened up that was completely non-smoking in Las Vegas.
Heard that, but I don't know everything.
Yeah, I'm probably wrong on it. Okay, so our next question comes from Northern Jim, who says, on Baccarat, how many sequential banker wins would you bet on players? So how many I can talk. How many sequential. Thank you. Sequential banker wins would you wait for before betting on player?
The banker is the better bet, so I advocate betting on the banker every time, and it does not help to keep track of the history of the old hands. So the number of sequential banker wins does not matter.
Right.
Easy one there.
And that's what they tell you. It's just like with roulette. The past wins or losses doesn't affect the future wins or losses.
You're absolutely right.
Also, too, on Baccarat with the banker, isn't that why there's a commission on banker and not on player? Because there's more banker hands or more banker wins than there are player wins?
Yeah, if you take out the ties, the banker has like a 52% chance of winning because they have a positional advantage. So that's why they have to pay the 5%. And by the way, I do present a card counting strategy on my website for Baccarat that can cut down the house advantage to about 0.9%, which I know is not a big reduction. It's only about 0.15%. But, for advantage players, 0.15% is a lot. Now, an advantage player probably wouldn't play Baccarat to begin with. But, if you must play, I would say try to cut down the house advantage as much as you can. And a good thing about Baccarat is you can sit there and you can use the scorecard to keep count. And it's a pretty easy system. So probably nobody uses it because if you were that smart, you'd probably be playing Blackjack. But nevertheless, it's out there. So check that out if you're interested.
Awesome. Now, we had several different answers for our trivia question. When is the first time the White House did the Easter egg roll? Jim said 1961, and it was not in the 1900s. Source Keen said 1867, which is closer. But Mark got the correct answer at 1878. Woo. Very good.
Very good.
Since we are close.
I was supposed to be a helper at the White House Easter egg roll.
No way.
And this was during the Clinton presidency. And I was supposed to come with I had a Renaissance fair outfit and juggle. But Hillary Clinton, as I'm told, put the kibosh on it and said, I don't want a bunch of clowns there. So I didn't get to go.
Oh, I would have loved to have seen that. Like we could have had video and everything, and that would have been so amazing.
Yeah, this was back in the 90s, so anyway, but yeah, when making a video of anything was like a big deal. Like I had a video camera the size of a box for a pair of boots. If I wanted to make a video, and the tapes were expensive, and it was a huge pain to. Anyway.
We only have 10 minutes left of this show, so we'll do the rest of it on gambling questions because we got a whole bunch all at once. The first one is from Anne. What do you plan? Do you plan on being a part of the Formula One festivities?
I would like to, but I have no plan, and I know that to get like a seat to anything is kind of expensive, but not the whole thing goes down the strip. Part of the race goes down Valley View or Paradise or something. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a ladder and go to one of the streets that is not on the strip and try to get a view that way. When I lived in Baltimore, the Pope made a visit, Pope John Paul II, and that's exactly what I did. And I had a great view above all the crowd with my ladder, and everyone complimented me. What a great idea! So I think I might do that.
Awesome. That's going to be really interesting seeing that, watching that.
Yep.
Okay, so our next question comes from Technics. Are the results of dice rolls in the craps bubble games consistent with those expected on the craps table?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're both fair random rolls, so absolutely, they both follow the natural odds with 2 dice. Oh, and by the way, let me make another announcement. So there's going to be a total eclipse. I've probably talked about this before, but there will be a total solar eclipse running through Mexico, crossing into Texas, and going northeast all the way over Maine on April 8th, 2024. Remember that date, April 8th, 2024. I'm personally I know it's going to go right over Waco, Texas. That's where I'm planning to watch it. And with most hotels, you can't book more than a year in advance. Now, at sites like Travelocity, you can try, but you're not going to come up with any hotel rooms. So April 8th is this Saturday. So on April 9th, which is Sunday, and I would do this like at 12:01 a.m. if you can, book your hotel rooms somewhere along that eclipse path. And because, as you know, there was another total eclipse in 2017, and hotel rooms along the totality line booked up, and what little was available was super expensive. So this is the kind of thing you need to act on really fast. And in these days where you book things on computers, like buying tickets, like we heard, about this brouhaha with Taylor Swift's tickets selling out in like a minute. You need to be there, and you need to act fast as soon as that window opens. The same is true with the Burning Man ticket sale, noon on the 12th. Be ready to click. So
really
there is
good.
a tip for you guys, and I'm sure I'll be talking more about the eclipse in future broadcasts.
That's really good advice. In 2017, weren't there people who they brought their RVs, and then you couldn't find a place to park because there was like RVs everywhere?
I'm sure that was probably a big problem, and I didn't have an RV, so I can't see things through their eyes. I do know that where I saw the eclipse in Huntington, Oregon, there was a school there that was selling basically parking spaces on their lawn, and it looked like they made a good business out of it because I could see that their whole field was covered with cars and RVs.
Wow.
And I do know that on the highway that I took to get there, there were all these signs that said no parking on the highway during the eclipse. So yeah, but no matter how you plan to see it, plan in advance.
Going back to our gambling questions, Justin asks, is 3-card poker a good game for a new player? Is that something good to start off with?
So the house edge in 3-card poker is I think 3.4%, which is kind of high. There are better games, there are worse games. It's kind of in the middle, I guess you might say. But at least it's a very simple strategy. Raise on queen 6-4 or better. Avoid all the side bets. So, like, if this is your very first time in a casino, go ahead and try 3-card poker. It doesn't have the best odds. If you do want to play something that has good odds, that is nice and simple, I think Pai Gow Poker, especially face-up Pai Gow Poker, would be a good choice.
Definitely. Or Big Six. That's an easy one.
That has a high house advantage, though, so I wouldn't recommend that one.
That's a good point. Jason says, where is that Baccarat strategy you're talking about?
Okay, let's see. Go to my site. Go to wizardofodds.com/games. I'm going to click B, and then Baccarat, and then I'm going to click Advanced Baccarat, View More, and Card Counting in Baccarat. And there you go. And everyone complains that it's hard to find stuff on my site. And, it's kind of a legitimate complaint, but that's right there. So the full address is wizardofodds.com/games/Baccarat/card counting with a hyphen between card and counting.
Awesome.
And that will teach you how to do that.
Cool. The next one is a comment. I can't put a number on it, but following your gambling advice has made a huge difference for me at so many games. And this is from Northern Jim.
Thank you very much, Northern Jim.
Yeah. We didn't get to this one. Gray says, what do you prefer in craps, the light side or the dark side?
I tend to prefer the dark side. However, the difference in house advantage is so small that I'm not going to give anyone the finger wagging of shame if they play the light side. And even, like, let's say that I am gambling with a visiting friend who wants to play craps, and if they play the light side, I'll play the light side too, just so that we're winning or losing together. But in general, I'll do the dark side just because that house advantage is 0.01% less.
Okay. Our next gambling question is not a gambling question. This is from Butchering Everything. Who do you like for Eurovision in 2023?
I have no comment on that one.
Okay, that makes it easy.
Okay,
Josh,
you say, repeat after me, 11 benevolent elephants.
Oh, no. 11 benevolent elephants.
Now say it 10 times.
11 benevolent elephants, 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 and 11 benevolent.
That was pretty good and fast.
I'm actually good with tongue twisters, but I can't pronounce words for the life of me. I'm so weird. Have you ever done how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? A woodchuck would chuck as much wood.
Could chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood.
But a woodchuck can't chuck wood, so therefore a woodchuck would chuck as much wood as a woodchuck could if a woodchuck. I screwed up.
I didn't know about that last part, but I do know the first one. Woodchuck could chuck wood. Woodchuck would chuck as much as he could chuck if woodchuck could chuck wood. Anyway, I see it's now 4:00. Are there any questions you feel that we should answer?
I have one more question for you.
Okay.
Is it possible to win at sports betting by betting a plus EV bets long term?
Sure, as long as you're betting plus EV bets in anything, then you can win long term. Absolutely. The hard part is getting the EV bets to begin with.
Yeah.
That's not so easy. I can't lead you to a simple way to do that. So anyway, let's let that be the last question.
Okay.
Okay.
And when are we doing this next time?
How about in 2 weeks, April 16th?
April 16th is on a Sunday. You mean the 20th? Isn't that during Cutting Edge?
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant April 20th.
Okay. I'm good for April 20th.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
And Del Braxton says, thank you both, and don't eat too much chocolate.
You're welcome. I don't really like chocolate, so you don't very much, so you don't need to worry about that from me.
I'm not a chocolate eater either, which is weird because I'm female.
I think men and women like chocolate about the same amount.
Yeah, but you get that stereotype where women like chocolate and it's like this huge thing, and I just don't get it.
Me neither.
I like carrot cake. I'll eat a carrot cake.
I find that carrot cake usually there's too much frosting on it.
Oh yeah, there
like
is.
You order carrot cake in the restaurant, it's like half frosting. That's just too much.
I agree with you. Too much frosting is too much. What's your favorite cake?
I like just kind of like a nice fluffy vanilla cake, maybe with some strawberries in it.
That's good.
I was really, I mentioned I did a cruise recently, and I was really impressed with the cakes on Carnival Cruise. Normally I think they kind of cut corners, like with the eggs, they use the egg mix as opposed to real eggs. But they made some darn good cakes, and I wish I had the recipe for one particular one that they did.
Are you a good chef?
No, I really only can do 3 things: chili, spaghetti, especially with vodka sauce, and barbecue.
I want to try your spaghetti with vodka sauce.
Come on over. We'll make it anytime.
Woo! Okay, you got it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was good doing this.
Thank you, audience, for all your questions and comments.
And we will see you guys at the same bat time, at the same bat channel. And have a good one.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.